After 107 days of war, after $4 gas, closing of the Strait of Hormuz, and a body count, the deal it might hand $300 billion reconstruction fund to Iran. This cannot be the case. The wild part, we just saw the vice president confirm the number on camera. So before anyone celebrates this peace deal, let's do some of the math and let's see what the outcome on both sides could be. I think we have to ask a question that nobody in power wants to sit with was, what is the war actually for? What's the goal of this? This is Jared. This is A View from Here. We're going to watch a little bit of the news here and break it down and just see what he has to say.
That they're going to have access to a $300 billion reconstruction fund. True or false?
Well, Ed, that's the sort of thing they could have access to, funded by the Gulf Coast Coalition, so long as they honor their end of the obligation. I think that one of the things you're going to see, Ed, and
I think that's also key here, honoring the obligation. What is going to be the ceasefire agreement? What's the plan moving forward? What was the plan ahead of time? But if you have this kind of fund for reconstruction, did we go into a country, destroy parts of its military, and still not get the outcome that we wanted? We didn't get the regime change. Until we get this regime change, we're going to continue to have issues. I know that's not a comfortable topic for everybody. I know people in today's world, we like to talk about fascism and compare each side to what they're doing wrong. But I would encourage people to look up the term appeasement prior to World War II and really sit on that for a little while, especially in the time when everybody's comparing everything else to fascism. I think that's very. As of right now, they're saying it's about 70% of the deals already signed in Switzerland. They're currently have the meeting of the. But this is the framework as it's been. This is the framework as it's been reported so far. A 6-day truce. The Strait of Hormuz reopens. Iran manages it. Iran collects transit fees. This is also a loss. When you start taxing boats coming out, having it is not good in the long run. U.S. sanctions on Iran oil lifted for 60 days, and the nuclear program, Iran's enriched uranium stays inside the country. This is something that should terrify people en masse. I know that we are split as a nation. I know when we have this conversation, Palestine gets brought up, Israel gets brought up. I wish we would take a step back and look at the real danger that is in front of us. We can't keep kicking the can down the street. This regime has to change. There's going to continue to be issues. People could be on any side that they want. There's still going to be an issue. The whole nuclear question gets pushed to future negotiations. We have seen how they deal with protesters. We have seen the slaughter of innocents, cutting off the internet. This is a regime that is built to stay in power. They're strong. They have a good military. To countries, they have little proxies all over the place. We need to take seriously. And until we could all be pulling on the same side of the rope, it's not going to work. Let's look a little bit at the money. The headline number that the deal is $300 billion in reconstruction fund for Iran. The person in power now has the same last name as the man in power before. This is not helping anybody. Let's dive a little deeper into what JD Vance has to say.
We'll have to be skeptical of this, is that the hardliners in the Iranian system will overemphasize the benefits that Iran gets while underemphasizing all the things that they have to concede and all the things they have to provide in order to get these benefits. So we absolutely are open to the Gulf Coast countries investing in the reconstruction of Iran, but only if Iran ends their nuclear program, ends their enriched stockpile of material, and is really.
Here's my problem. Conditions. Everything is conditional. How do you know that these conditions are being met? What do you to see if these conditions are being met? What are the conditions? Can you trust right now? Can you trust either side? Can you trust the propaganda on either side? How, if I was the leader of this country, if I was the person in charge of this, I don't know what would stop me from lying and just saying, well, we're doing it this way. They are very honest and open for what their goals are. I don't know why that's too big of a deal. It's not just cash. It is, if Iran does this, then the conditions are met, then the money could be used. We have seen time and time again that not just this regime, but its proxies will use the money meant to help the people, to not help the people. They will use it to, whether it's build tunnels, armies. It's not being used for the people. We've seen this over and over again since 1979. We've helped all over the world with money. It never gets into the right hands. It sometimes does. I know. But oftentimes we're being lied to across the board. I would be concerned that the conditions would be met and maybe lied about and still be used to whether it's build the nuclear program quicker, uh, arm their proxies. I don't know. The goal of this regime has been and will continue to be the destruction of Israel. I know that's not what things and people want to talk about. I'm not saying that JD Vance is lying. I'm saying that the entire deal is now based on conditions. And you cannot give that conditions to this regime. They have proven to not be able to be trusted. And we have so much distrust in this, to let alone putting ourselves into wars. And wars where we don't even quite understand who we're fighting against or what we're fighting against. The more I think about this situation, the more I do think about appeasement, as I mentioned to you guys earlier. When you do a country and you're worried about what they could do, the deals aren't negotiated in full trust. You can't just assume that these conditions will be met, or if these conditions will be lied about, or what the outcome could possibly be at all. We're in a situation now where we have pushed Iran back into a corner, and you would think that we would have all the negotiating power, but yet we don't. With the straits being closed, with oil being the price it is, with people being frustrated with the Middle East in general, with marches all over the world, and many situations, for example, the one in Sudan being ignored, is a focal point on this situation. What scares me is if you had Russia attack you a couple days ago, harder again. This war has been going on for years. And what's going to happen when, if we do have the deal, and then Iran, just like for any of the news we have, goes out of the news for a little bit. You see how the American public is. We listen to the news. One day we're angry, we're inflamed. The next day it doesn't even matter. Now what's going to happen? Is the focal point going to go back to Russia? Is the focal point going to go back to Israel and Palestine? Will Israel keep attacking the proxy armies of Iran in southern Lebanon? What happens with Yemen? All these questions have yet to be answered. Us going into Iran and attacking them, we don't even know what the outcome of that was. But until we can know and decide as a people what's best moving forward, and what regimes and what power we can live with and can't live with, like I said, we have to take a step back and we start watching the news differently. We have to start reporting the news differently. We have to start having open conversations on both sides. We are just head direction. There's too many fires burning all over the world right now for eventually them not to come together as one. We have seen this in history in the past. I I encourage people watching the build up to World War I, but any war build up, it's not often just boom spark. That's we always see the last. We see the thing that sets off the explosion, but you don't see everything else in place. It's a powder keg, and it needs a little spark. If you want team sports screaming just the facts and the history beneath it, please like and subscribe. I'm a Paralympian, a history nerd, and I'm building a channel I wish existed so I can have conversations with people about what's truly happening in the world. And I want to and have to have both, and to be able to call out both sides when they are acting crazy. When this situation it's not a movie, it's not Instagram. This is real life, and there's real life consequences of these. We're all playing a role, it feels like, the whole world, until we see that at the end of this, actual repercussions and people will die. It's we're barreling towards World War III, and we're having arguments over things that mean nothing. Just moved back to the States, been abroad for years, and I'm trying to build this channel the way that I want. Do me a favor, hit like and subscribe. I want a non conversation about the news. I want a non BS look about what's happening in the world and see if we can find some middle ground.